Welcome to 5 Minutes, your quick dive into the wide-ranging world of insurance, technology, and leadership. I'm Miguel Edwards, and I'll be your guide as we explore these topics that are transforming not just the insurance industry, but the business world at large. Along with sharing observations I've made over the span of my career in insurance, technology, and operations, I'll be chatting with some of the brightest minds in business and leadership. Whether you're a seasoned executive or a rising star, an industry expert, or just curious about how technology is revolutionizing insurance, this is your perfect spot for your weekly dose of insights. This is 5 Minutes.
So Pete, I got to ask this question here, man, because, and we're going to go a little bit off script here because all of a sudden you got my, gears are going. I spent all my time on the carrier side, as you know, and I can't tell you how many projects that I've been part of that were called misclass.
Yeah.
Why can't I use this on the carrier side?
You could.
Okay.
And so that's one of the things we're looking at is how do we partner with carriers and underwriting teams to be able to say, hey, and identify apps that come in,
right?
So that we can say, hey, nope, misclassified, kick it out,
right?
Or yep, green, go,
right?
Or yellow, we need more information, whatever the methodology and platform is. But yeah, we absolutely could. My past life, the last 6 years, I was with a large broker. 50% of our program broker distribution were misclassified.
So I could, in theory, I could run my book of business through the system 100%. And they could point out all the policies that are misclassed 100%. And then I could just re-rate those at renewal, right?
100%. Re-rate, re-recommend, and make sure that at the end of the day, look, yes, it's for brokers and agents to help them facilitate that process.
Right.
But we've got to help our clients.
Yeah.
It's really all about the clients.
That's right.
So when we say AI, yes, it's important, but I like the word almost data user experience.
Yep.
We're creating experiences based on data that we know and making us smarter to create better experiences.
I love it. I love it. So, talk to me a little bit about what the journey was developing this technology and kind of, how you thought about what architecture and what, what components to use. Talk to me a little about that.
Yeah, some of that predated me.
Okay.
So before I got here, but I know at the end of the day, we're really trying to make our focus has always been on agents and brokers to start with.
Yep.
But as we've gotten into more about creating standalone products, we've identified other use cases. Mm-hmm. So now we're starting to decouple some of that standalone products to make it more integratable with APIs and other places that we can integrate into other use cases like the underwriters we talked about or carriers or ways to support that.
Yeah. So, a whole host of questions are coming at me now because I'm thinking again, and from the carrier perspective, thinking about the carriers that are thinking about building AI type of technology. Yep. And there was a whole buy versus build conversation, but I'm interested also too in kind of how you guys thought about the product and scaling that product and on the product roadmap. What would that conversation look like at all?
Yeah, I mean, part of that, and that's part of why I use the word decouple because I'm not the tech guy.
Right.
But we've created APIs to make that so that we can scale with multiple use cases within if you think about the value chain, right? Yeah. At the end of the day, when an agent or a prospect calls you and says they want to get a quote, mm-hmm. really all we're doing is facilitating the movement of data.
Yeah.
And there's multiple people along that value chain that are going to touch that data.
Yeah.
CSR, an underwriter, if they have a claim. And when it comes back into renewal, the agent's going to retouch it, and it's just a continuous cycle. So if we can create APIs and ability to scale and help facilitate that movement of data much easier and create recommendations throughout that life cycle to make that easier, everyone's going to win.
Love it. Let me shift gears a little bit and talk a little bit about experience, customer experience.
Yep.
As I think about your technology, help me understand why we wouldn't push elements of that process further upstream, even to the consumer.
Yeah.
Where the consumer is allowed now to kind of fill out an application with a lot of this hydration capability that you have.
Yeah. So that's one of the conversations we were having internally, because there's no reason.
Okay.
Really, at the end of the day, because if you think about a lot of people are pushing rate quote buying, digital straight through process.
Right.
So if we can be at the forefront of that and make a customer smarter, because look, I'll never forget, I tried to insure a buddy of mine, and this was 100 years ago when I had my agency. He wouldn't come to me. He went to Geico because he went online, and I live in Dallas. We had a massive hailstorm. Well, my buddy who will go unnamed forever, who I talk to often. It hailed. His car got obliterated, but he did not select rental car coverage.
Okay.
Well, every car in Dallas got hailed. So guess what? All the body shops were backed up for months.
Yeah.
So his car, he literally sat for two months without a car that he had to pay rental car coverage.
That's awesome.
And I was like, that's what we can do. So, and I fast forward to your question about how do we put that upstream with clients? Right. If we can embed some of that information so that clients don't be like my buddy and forget to get rental car coverage and make sure that they have those recommended coverage, we absolutely can.
Thank you for joining this episode of 5 Minutes. If you've enjoyed our discussion, we'd love for you to share it with anyone else you think might find it interesting. Also, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on and hit that bell to stay on top of the game with our practical 5-minute episodes. We look forward to seeing you again next week.